Hey, this is the antisocial socialite back at it again. Shout out to everybody in YouTube land. We be out here in these YouTube streets ranting as per usual. I hope everyone is doing well. You know, another day, another dollar. Um, um, yeah. So I was just on YouTube today. I was watching a YouTuber. Uh, yeah, Mike Tyson finally took a good right hook to the face. Good. Um, so yeah, I was looking at, I've come across so many videos recently where people are out here talking about high value versus high quality. And I saw one male content creator that I really like actually. I was really shocked and I was really disappointed. I mean, at the end of the day, everyone's entitled to their own opinion and I see things a certain way. So obviously, I've got to understand like everyone's personal experience is different, yada yada yada. But I'm just like, I don't understand why people have such a hard time understanding that what Kevin Samuels talks about is a particular aspect of black men. Okay, he's talking about black men raising their financial game. Okay, because at the end of the day, studies have shown that black men are some of the best fathers, that black men are some of the most egalitarian. They are less likely to dominate their women. They're less likely to be like, uh, controlling. A lot of black men will tell you they don't really want submission like that. They want cooperation more than anything else. Black men are not likely to be like, I want you to stay at home. You have to be uneducated. You have to be chained to the stove. You have to be, walking 5 paces behind me. Black men, for the most part, do not control how women dress. They don't control how women speak. They don't control how women operate. The reason why the black community looks the way it looks is because black men have not been putting the pressure on women to have to meet certain criteria, shall we say. Um, I suppose in other cultures, the men just naturally vote more with their feet. And there's a lot more intellectually honest communication about what the men of other races will not tolerate. This is why when you go to certain areas, for example, that are wealthy, you will see, white women in the cold, in the rain, in the snow, they're going jogging, they look a certain way, they're all getting the same enhancements. It's because they understand, whether it's spoken or not, there is an expectation that when you want a certain caliber of man, you present yourself a certain way to get that caliber of man. I was out some maybe a couple of months back, maybe a month now, 2 months, and I'm always walking and watching kind of thing, I suppose. And I was approaching the road and I saw this young lady, she's white, she looked like maybe 19, and this car came. I don't know if it was like an Aston Martin or something. It was really nice because I'm looking at the car, and the lady did look attractive, and you can just see the way her demeanor changed as she stood at the crossing. She almost posed like, I'm for sale, And then I watched as the car drove past, or maybe she was approaching the crossing, but she wasn't at it yet. But you could see, like, the little flick of the hair and the tilt to the side, like exposing the neck, which is obviously body language for receptivity, like I'm available sexually. And see the look of disappointment, like, oh, he didn't stop for me. It's like women of other races, they understand the importance of putting it on. They understand the importance of making that effort to make yourself what the men of your culture want in order to be selected. This is obviously why a lot of black men talk about the idea of black women not really wanting to compete to get the best men they possibly can get, but then they complain when they don't get the kind of men they really want. And so I was watching this video today where this brother, he's really talking about this is high quality, and I was really disappointed. But this is a common talking point, like a, I don't know if you want to call it a juxtaposition, but it's like, why is it so hard for people to understand that black men are some of the most accommodating men on the planet? Like, they are the ones that will go to work and come home and cook. They are the ones that will clean and do laundry for the most part. They are the ones that will push the stroller and carry kids and checked out the study that, believe it, if that father is involved, he's interested. He likes to play, he wants to have fun with the kids. So this notion that how gonna treating a black woman, it really disappointed me to hear this guy saying this, man. Like, I was just like, are you kidding me? We know that black men are some of the most accommodating. Say all the black men who have high incomes, decent incomes, over six figures, they are out here just abusing women left, right, and center. That was just so disappointing to me. It's a conversation about black men, acquiring more resources. It's about them acquiring, more status, becoming the kind of men that these women. I know a lot of women like to use whole black men abuse us, and most black women are killed by black men, which is not unique to black women, because all women are killed by their own men more than anybody else. That's not unique to black women. Okay. And we do know that males raised by single mothers are actually more likely to be violent towards women. They're more likely to see a woman as an equal, therefore they're not going to see her as somebody that shouldn't be a hit. They're more likely to have maybe frustrations against women because of the way they were treated by their mother. It could be an attempt to break free of the connection to their mother, so they become more resistant, more resentful. They may feel like their mothers tried to clip their wings too much, and so they have animosity towards women. It could even be resentment against the mother for not providing her with him. Is by single mothers are actually more inclined to be violent to women than men raised with fathers. But okay, this is something that a lot of these women don't really talk about. That's another reason why I can't be bothered with them, because they don't want to address. They get the problem is why you feel disrespected and you feel unprotected, and it's one of the reasons why significant I don't know what happened there, but this was a trend that was cultivated and perpetuated by women, not men. It wasn't men running around with their wallets in the air, or a sign round their neck or a tattoo on their face saying, I make remember years ago came across some like red pill stuff. So I didn't really see her as a person who was really spouting a lot of negativity. And well, like I said, I look at it kind of like two plates of food. One has got like 50% stuff I don't really fancy to eat, but it's not really going to kill you. And the other plate is like 100% what I like, but it's got a spoonful of poison. It's like, which one do you really want to take your chances with? Obviously, no matter how much these ladies put out good content, if the undercurrent is always despising black men, it's still poison. So it's not, and in this video that Chrissy did, she was kind of chastising women, saying, on average you ladies are making about 30 grand a year. What do you really need a man making a really need a man making 100,000 a year for? You make 30K and you're living on 30K. What do you need 100 grand a year man for? And so she was one of the first people to kind of challenge it, that some of you ladies are trying to punch above your weight, seeing as you don't even make that kind of money, And so when this guy kind of went off on his tangent, and this was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back with this conversation about, you need to be looking for a man with quality. I mean, this is kind of like, and I'm not going to say that this brother is like a lot of these female content creators that are just completely intellectually dishonest, because he does actually hold women accountable. But this notion that it's the men who are the problem, it really disappointed me, because it's the women who are out here talking about how much they need this big lifestyle, even though they've been living happily with their meager income for the longest while. And if women really cared about acquiring or getting with men who had this certain level of income, they would actually be dating those men, and they would be making themselves desirable and appealing and attractive to those men. They wouldn't be out here talking about I'm ready to settle down at 45. They wouldn't be out pounds with 3 kids. They wouldn't be out here talking about I'm ready to settle down at 45. So this idea that the problem is the men suddenly making a few dollars and now they're waving it around like a beating stick over all black women, I was just like, wow. I tried to type a comment in the comment section and I couldn't find the words, because it's like, I really like you. I like the fact that you hold women accountable. I like the fact that you call women out for some of the poor quality choices that they make, and that you kind of expose the failures on both sides of the fence. But this is not an either or conversation. The problem is that a lot of the time they just don't have the resources or the opportunity to really make it. Okay, and a lot of that is to do with the start in life that they've had. It's to do with a lot of, I hate falling back on white supremacy, but white supremacy does permeate all aspects of Western life. So at the end of the day, you have to be conscious of the fact that there is a system that definitely works against black men. And if you don't acknowledge that, I'm not saying use it as a crutch or use it as an excuse, but we have to be honest about the fact that a black man is not going to get the same kind of opportunities and leeway as a white man because of white privilege. And it's like, is it chicken or egg? For example, let's talk about police brutality. Are the police institutionally racist, or are they justified because of the fact that they're black? in be is a reality. No. Bragging rights, I would guess. They want the six-figure dude. And good morning, George. Yeah, they definitely want the bragging rights. When I did one of my Kevin Samuels videos, one of the first ones, and I was having like a 2-day drag out, I realized that the reason why these women wanted the six-figure dude was because they wanted the lifestyle. This is why they don't know what men want, because they don't really care what men want. They don't really care what men need or like. They're not interested to know. All they want is the six-figure dude because they want that six-figure lifestyle. And I don't remember the video, but I just remember that bit from Chrissy's video when she asked them, why do you need a guy making so much money? And I didn't listen, but maybe she even commented on the fact that the reason why these ladies want these kind of men. And it's like, you get into these kind of arguments with people who try to straw man you. Sky is blue, and they're like, yeah, but cats drink milk. It's like, what's that got to do with the sky being blue? We're talking about the sky being blue. Yeah, but I just wanted you to know cats drink milk. It's the sky right now. Yeah, but I just need you to know that the cat drinks milk. It's like, why do you keep making this point? We understand cats drink milk, but we're talking about this: get a network, stay out, will go to school, get a job, wear a suit. I don't understand why people have to then talk about, well, he doesn't talk about the character. He doesn't talk about the character. Just because you got money doesn't mean you're a good person. It's like, duh, we don't, do you want, wow, thank you for that epiphany. I know that sounds really sarcastic and harsh, but with all due respect, when we look at the dating and mating choices of a lot of black women out here, we are not picking for character or money, okay? Attraction, okay? They're picking like men. They're dating like men. They're picking pretty boys. Not necessarily pretty boys, but they're picking dudes that they find physically attractive and sexually appealing. Okay? That's the only and the top criteria. How does this man make me feel sexually? Okay? Which means character and income goes complaining about the father of their children. This is why they're complaining about being lied to and tricked into having babies. This, I've been coming up across a number of people talking about men tricking them into having kids. I'm like, how? Did he tell you he was on birth control? Like, how did that happen? Lack of accountability is it's so dangerous. It's dangerous. And these this guy talking about character, same thing. Kevin Samuels needs to talk about character. Like, Kevin didn't say that the only thing that makes you high value is six figures in a network and being on a LinkedIn level. He never said that it was either or exclusively that. He simply says that for you to be a high value man, it starts with money. And I'm not going to say I'm not going to say it starts with money, but let's just be real. A lot of women want to have a particular lifestyle. This is why he asked them, do you want to pay significant bills after you get married? How do you want to be a stay-at-home wife and mother? Well, you have to be realistic that if that's what women claim to want, which we know it's not really what they want, so this conversation is a little bit circular. Who are making the kind of money to give the woman the option to do that. Now, the problem here and the caveat really is this: women need to stop focusing on a particular dollar amount. And I agree, you can't just disqualify people because of how much they earn as a man. But this is where compromise and being realistic comes into it. If you than happiness, then yeah, you're gonna end up chasing rich men, and if you can't meet the standards, you'll die alone and you'll leave with nothing. Okay, so oh wow. And reevaluating your goals comes in. If you know that you want a certain lifestyle, i.e., for example, let's say I want to be a stay-at-home wife and mother, all right, but you know that the man that you may get can only earn XY, the best option at 60K. What kind of house can we get? Do we have to get a house? Do we have to get an apartment? Can we live in a small property? You know, how many kids can we afford? Yada, yada, yada. And you start crunching the numbers. That's how you find a medium where you get the best for what you can, for what you can get. Because there's nothing wrong with being a woman wanting a man who makes 100 grand a year. Let's forget about character. Let's just talk about, you know, the income. There's nothing wrong with you wanting that, but you got to understand a man like that, maybe he has options or he moves in a certain circle that you're not even in to be able to meet such a guy. And what does a guy who makes decent money want? Because although they say 6 figures, and we know 100 dudes who making 6 figures, they're not making 100 grand a year. They're making above that. So what does the man making 500K, 600K, 700K, 999K? What is he like? What does he want? What's he about? And this is the conversation that a lot of these women don't want to have. This is why white women are getting dudes to make 6 figures, but they were considered in the other race. Black women are mad, or you know, the black men are making the money, but they're not picking them, kind of thing. It's like, well, you got to understand it's a trade-off. But to insinuate that because a man has high income, then it's like, then what do you want? What do you want? Do you want a broke man who's good? Or do you want a high value man that's abusive? Because it's pretty much the same narrative that I see being played out by this brother, that you have to trade quality or character or value for character. Are some of the most giving, some of the most accommodating when they're decent people. So, and across the board, you have men who have a lot of money, and you know, the race. There are some so automatically be abusive, and then at the same time, you know, you got to look for character even if he's got no money. Well, it's not either or, it's not binary. You can have both. Really get so worked up about this idea that ladies, you need to be looking for character over value. It's it just, I was, every time I see a brother who makes a video like this without nuancing it or kind of just finding that middle ground. I mean, obviously they have the right to make whatever video they want to make, but I'm just like, you're not really helping the situation. You're really actually enabling these women who don't want to hear the truth. This, we get it. Kevin is a bitter pill. A lot of people don't want to swallow it, but you know, it is what it is. He makes a valid point. He makes a lot of valid points. So don't just throw out the baby with the bathwater just because he doesn't talk about character. Obviously, no one is saying be with a narcissistic abuser just because he's got a good bank balance. That's not something Kevin has ever said. He's never said that, that, you know, you should tolerate abuse just because you get a good lifestyle. In fact, it's oftentimes women who are more likely to be like, you need to get with him, girl, because he got money. You got to do this, or finesse, or try to scam him somehow. It's not not men out only just the dollars. Show me the guys who are out here saying that. All they're saying is, I'm a six-figure dude and I wouldn't tolerate this or that. When I read the comment section and guys actually say, well, I've got six figures, a lot of them are not even out here saying, son. And guess what? Even the men who are not making six figures are not feeling some of the things that these women are trying to give them. They're not trying to deal with the things. And again, anybody, all right? These women are calling Kevin. I saw some little snippet from punch him up, man. I saw something yesterday. Kevin did a video with some lady, and she's like, I'm 30 years old, and my longest relationship was 6 months, and I don't even want to count the last relationship I was in. He asked her, when was your last relationship? And she's like, oh, I don't really want to count it, which probably means like, some friends with benefits type situation. It wasn't even like an official relationship. It was just they were having sex, and it was kind of like some Netflix and chill type thing. Okay. Punch him on the ground. Come on. Both. So yeah, so she's 30 with no relationship history, no real, partly because they're constantly being told focus on your education, don't worry about finding a man, or this whole any man that wants that age is probably trying to control you, they're trying to manipulate you because you're naive, or he's some type of predator. So as a result, just ride the carousel. And I got distracted. So yeah, so this whole notion that somehow it's the men trying to not finesse, control these younger women, it doesn't even add up. It's not the men doing that, it's women. Women are the one lying to men about. It's women telling other women, don't date until you get to like a good ripe old age, and then afterwards, when they finally do want to settle down, they've been through the wars, they've been with a lot of partners, sometimes they've got a gift, or they've got gifts that walk and talk in the net, in the form of children. They're jaded, they're not bringing their best and their prime to the situation, but then they want the man to bring his best and the prime to them. And it's like, the problem a lot of the time is black women just waiting too late to settle down and listening to too many of the wrong voices. Okay. And so I just, it really disappointed me, because the problem is not anything and everything for her. That's just normal. But a lot of black women don't even want that. What they really want is the guy that excites them, regardless of whether he's a something. It's a value. And the brother did make this point that there are lots of things out there that people value that is valueless. And he used the example like certain sneakers really only cost a few dollars to make, but they still charge hundreds of dollars because they're deemed desirable. Okay. And that's true. But the problem with black women in a lot of instances, there's so many things that black women prioritize over future that causes them to make the decisions that they make. And then they complain afterwards about is too many broke black men allegedly. Well, Kevin is addressing that. And before he started getting popular telling women about themselves, you need to work harder. You need to get your money right. You don't need to be worrying about women. You need to be worrying about finances. You know, so I'm just looking at these people who keep coming up with this argument that somehow because a man makes six figures he's suddenly not high vat he's not automatically high quality. Like, Kevin never said it was exclusively that. He never said that. The only thing he's focused on is getting more black men out here, because you cannot even Cynthia G. This is why I said to you, a lot of these women who make videos about Kevin and fight him and try to drag him and label him all kind of derogatory names. I look at them with the side eye, because I'm like, you really don't want what you talk about. You just want to complain about something. Because if you're saying, for example, we want black men to overthrow white supremacy, what do you think the white man's going to do? Just wake up one day and say, let me give all these black people all sorts of benefits because it's a nice thing to do. You know what? We don't give them enough jobs. Let's just create some jobs and just give it to them, even though they don't have what it takes to fill the role. I mean, we know that there's obviously systematic uh, prejudice and discrimination against black men. All right. So even at school level, when we're talking about very young children, black boys are more likely to be targeted by teachers, which is obviously going to discourage them from education. And if it, regardless of whether education is of any value or not, it becomes irrelevant, because if the criteria to get a job or into a particular course is, oh, if the criteria is to have a certain academic level, then if you have a group of black men or men who are not who are academically not criteria, so by sabotaging black boys in the home and then failing them in the education system, they're like doubly derailed during childhood, so that they are not able to compete in adulthood. Do you understand? So when I hear black women complaining about Kevin just because he tells women, oh, ask them what's your height, weight, dress size, I'm like, because at the end of the day, if you want black men to allegedly overthrow white supremacy, which I personally don't really think can happen, but okay, whatever. We need money for that. You need money to back politicians. You need money to run campaigns. You need money to do initiatives. You've got Crystalline Kerosene out here. Um, it's like ordering a pizza with most of the slices eaten, fondled, and the delivery person expecting you to pay for it and enjoy. That's what some expect. It feels like that. It does feel like that, you know? And it's like Crystalline Kerosene, wow. This dude is really trying to think, man. Um, show Lance Growth, right? Lance Growth is a black man who allegedly, he's a high value man. Okay. This is the whole value versus quality. All right. Good, fine. What? And Lance, Crystalline did a short video with Lance, and they're going out giving checks to people in the community. I don't know if he's working as a partner with another black lady, but it's like they're going out and giving, those big charity style checks to people. And it's like black women got checks. I saw like a group of women standing there. I don't know if it's the owner or a recipient, but there was like a little boy there. So it's a child. And then who else gets a check? A Hispanic guy. And I was looking like, I said, oh, you can't be trolling every day. Some days you just have to give it a rest. And and kind of just leave her alone. It was possibly, I don't even know. And I was like, wow. So the black community is black women, black children, and Hispanic men, it looks like. I mean, Lance, you were a black boy who was raised by a single mother. You say you had a mentor who not only encouraged your mentality, but actually paid for you to go to college. And you mean to tell me you couldn't find one black boy to give a check to? Not one? Don't get me wrong, he doesn't. All right, let's just forget black men. Let's just send them to the wall. You mean to tell me, as a black man who was sponsored by a mentor, you couldn't go and find one black child and say, here's $200, go to Walmart and pick up some stationery for school. Here's the money for a laptop. Like how you all have to stay home and do online learning. You couldn't here's a voucher for whatever shop you guys have in the States for IT. Here in the UK, we have Curry's PC World. Um, here's a voucher. Let's say we're in England for Curry's. Go and buy yourself the best laptop you can, and here's also some another 100 on top. Get yourself some headphones and some whatever. You mean to tell me you couldn't find one black boy to give a check to? You give a check to a black woman, she's standing, one of them standing beside a black child, and then you go and find Miguel, who's maybe the janitor at this hotel. Miguel, come, just hold this check, and when I give you the wink, cry. I was like, bruv, really? No wonder Crystalline Kerrison likes you, because even though you as a black boy were helped, and I assumed it was by a black man, but maybe it wasn't, maybe that's why he decided to give the check to this guy. You were a black boy who was helped by somebody else, and you don't think that everybody, like, I was just like, wow. It's like a 2-minute video, and he's going around the right to do with it what they want. But I was just shocked. I was like, you see the dire state of the black community. I get it. You probably, like, you look like I did better, but I'm like, did you forget that it was actually the mentor that you, as a 37-year-old man who is still in contact with, this guy Lance Gross said, I speak to the guy who's one of my mentors once a month. That guy is your surrogate father. All right, whether you're doing the job incapable of doing. And you mean to tell me you shoot a video, and obviously you have the right to do what you want. I'm not nobody, I'm just talking. Gave the money to, maybe he's not doing business either, but you still found a Spanish guy or a Mexican or whatever to give a check to. What if you'd been overlooked for the Mexican? You wouldn't be Lance Growth now, because it was the guy who mentored you who gave you that money. And I said to myself, Crystalline, this is why you start fights that you can't finish, because you're trying to prove a point that this is an example of a high value man who makes good money and is giving back to the community. When did the Mexican become part of the community? With all due respect, we love all people. People who need help, we give. But at the same time, it's like, when did Mexicans become the community? And then you wonder why everything in the black community leaves the community. This illusion of inclusion, as it, I've found out is the term, is why blacks are pretty much almost exclusively at the bottom, because we open the door for everyone and everything, but then when it comes time to return the favor, it's like, oh, I'm sorry, we're out of favors. You just become the mule for everybody. That really wound me up, man, because I'm saying, As a black man who actually was helped, you mean to tell me you couldn't find a black boy you could relate with? Cool, we have a micro center. I don't know what that means, but oh, I don't want to be knocked out again. So I just looked at that and I thought, you're really not helping the fight. You're basically saying we like black men who are community property, who will go and make millions after being given a disadvantaged start, and then they basically just give all that money back to black women. I was just like, wow, wow. And then they're all praising him. This is a real man of quality. This is a real man. This is what a high value man does. He doesn't sit in a dark room with a camera and candles. You know, he goes into the community and he does the work. And I'm just like, when did a Mexican become the community? When? You know, there's a lot of people out here, man. They're throwing the baby with the bathwater too much. Too much. Trying to prove a point as if Kevin, Jesus Christ. Before Lance Grove had a meal, did he not have 100,000? So when he was becoming high value, did he not make his first 100,000? So you ladies are out here wanting high value men or high earning men. You want them to overthrow white supremacy, but once they start making moves to start, you know, making changes so they can actually be in a physical and a financial position to do it, then you want to tear it down. And then you elevate guys who are like, this woman's like, you never go poor, you know, giving away money. I was like, the only way that's true is if people actually give back to you. Other than that, no, you will go poor if you give away everything to people who cannot return it. That's a okay. If you're talking about rich in your heart, that's now full of love. Yeah, try and tell that to the gas man. Try and tell that to the guy when the bill comes for the light. I haven't got no money in my bank account, but my heart is full of love because I gave all my money away. They're like, oh, okay, then it's fine. Just live rent free then because your heart is so full. Like no one ever said no one ever. Like I don't really care what your heart is full of. Just give me my money. Computer store in the States. Oh, okay, micro center. I think we have like a shop. We also have like what's that place called? I think you have it in the States as well. Oh my gosh, one of those wholesale places. You know, one of these wholesale places. But you probably wouldn't get the latest computer if they even sell any. You know, it's just going to be like whatever. But again, for a child that's maybe growing up in poverty, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that Lance didn't give money to black men. I'm not saying that he doesn't give money to black boys. But I'm saying in the video that Chrysalin put up on her channel, I just thought to myself, you mean to tell me you couldn't feature a little bit of everybody? Why you only got to feature the only man who received anything in the video is a Mexican guy. I just don't understand why he's part of the community now. Oh, what? I just and then you got all these women in the comment section. This is a real man. This is what a real man does. Real good high value men. They go into the community. They don't just hide behind a computer asking women about their dress size. Yeah, you don't want him to ask you about your dress size because, you know, maybe your dress size is a bit big. Hit him. Oh, God. Yeah. It's just, wow. I just thought to myself, we're in such a mess. When you've got, yeah, Costco. That's it. We have Costco, you know, as well. So it's like, you wouldn't necessarily get the top laptop because maybe they don't sell the latest items. But I mean, if you're a child who's coming from a low income family, you're going to be glad just to get a computer and maybe, you know, sometimes even online, like a Wi-Fi, whatever. It can be, you know, maybe a few hundred for the year, getting Wi-Fi in a child's house or something. Like I said, I'm not saying that this guy never does anything. High value, net worth assets. Tesco, yeah, and Costco are similar. We have Macro, which is another wholesale place, which is kind of similar to Costco. And we have a supermarket called Tesco, not Testco, just Tesco, and that's like a supermarket. Um, and if you have the really big Tesco, they do have like clothes and electricals, you know. But if it's a smaller store, then it's just food, or maybe you can go in and order online, but you can't pick up really much in the store. But yeah, so I was just looking at that and I thought to myself, yeah, so Haroon says high value is net worth, income, and assets. And at the end of the day, you want to have a man who's got these things if you want to have a lifestyle, which is what a lot of these women are pursuing. And then Haroon goes on to say, high quality character, being a good father and a good man. And let's be real, because women want to lead with their money, they want to, and this is exactly what Jessica Average at Best did. She was like, I need a man who makes six figures because now I make six figures. But you weren't bothered about six figures before when you were with the father of your child. And you're not in the vicinity to necessarily find anybody like that now. So all of a sudden, because you make that income, you feel like you're worthy of that income back. Okay, which is the failure on a lot of these people who make this conversation about high value versus high quality. We know, but a lot of black women are not really picking men based on either high value or high quality. They literally are like, I make my own money, so I don't need yours. I just need you to make me feel good and be there when I want, and that's it. So the whole this whole oh this the conversation is almost, I think you would call it a moot point, because if black women are not valuing either, then why are you even comparing them? If black women cared about, if I mean, he made the point about this YouTuber. He made the point about how many desperate housewives are out here complaining that they have rich husbands, they live in a mansion, and they're unhappy. How many black women is that? How many black women are out here with a house on the hill, and they're having it away with the pool boy because they're really unhappy? How many? Apart from maybe in like Potomac and Atlanta, how many? I don't. When I see the stereotype of the miserable housewife who's got a rich husband, it's not a black woman. So why are you even bringing that up when that doesn't relate to 99% of black women? Most black women are probably unhappy because they picked a man and then afterwards they felt like, oh, I'm better than him. Which is why 80% of divorces are initiated by women. So this conversation is irrelevant to a degree because black women are not the ones out here, house on the hill, crying about the fact that their man is rich but horrible. I don't even know why you're even making that point. And a lot of black women are the ones who are out here talking about, he's nice, he's a good person. It doesn't matter if he's got 15 felonies. I love him. I want him. He's got potential. He said he's going to be a rapper one day. We're the biggest ones out here picking on character because the guy's nice even when he's broke. So what are you talking about? Quality over value? Neither of these points are relevant to black women because black women are not picking like either thing. As Chrissy said, there's a difference. Many black men in the music industry are high value but low quality. Exactly. It's like I'm trying to wrap my head around it, but I really can't because I don't understand why you're even bringing this comparison up when black women are not picking for either set. If they were picking men who were decent and good fathers, they wouldn't be on the internet every day complaining about their baby daddy or baby daddies. And if they were picking men who had good money but were abusive, they wouldn't be out here talking about all of these men are broke and dusty. So pick a struggle. Pick one. It's just like, when I hear this, I was like, I don't understand why this conversation triggers me so much. But for some reason, I'm just trying to force these two bits together, but I can't. Because to me, first and foremostly, it's not intrinsically, or it's not exclusive that because a man has money, he's abusive. It's it's just not true. And just because a man has low income doesn't mean he's nice. So already we've already got like an apple with an orange. And then we've got like an apple in Afghanistan versus an orange in like Alaska. Like, why? You know, I'm animated out here. You know, I'm just like ranting. These are streams of consciousness, or maybe incoherence. I don't know. But all I know is, why are you making this argument like you're saying something? Why? You're not saying anything per se, with all due respect, because we're not saying it's either or. It's saying that holistically, if you know that the best man you can attract is making 60,000, you got to be realistic about what you can achieve with that income. If your goal is to be happy, then yeah, you can get happiness with 60K, but you're going to have to be willing to compromise. You may not be able to get the house you always dreamed of, or you're going to have to wait a bit longer to get to that point. I mean, I don't understand why it becomes so difficult. Why do black people always have to overcomplicate everything that's so simple? Why would men being broke and dusty be an issue if you are avoiding them? This is the other conversation. It's like, and this highlights how much black women are dating a certain kind of man. Because why are you so focused on men you shouldn't be talking to? Like, like people who are dating high value men don't see the quote unquote broke dusties, because they already can see, I don't think you have what I want, so therefore let's not even entertain this conversation. It's the women who are entertaining the broke men who are then getting stung by them, and then they go to the internet to complain about them. It's just like, but why did you date him? You knew he was broken dusty. Yeah, but I love him. He was nice. He has character. He told me he's got potential. He's going to do this and that. And I believed him. Well, then why are you complaining later? Yeah, but it's not about the money. But he's broke. So it's like, well, then it is the money. Yeah, it's the money, but it's not the money. Character matters. Well, did he have a nice character? Yeah, but he was broke. So then it's like, so which one is it? Which one is it? Well, he was broke and he was nice. It's like, well, then you need to make a decision, like downsize your life because he's broke. Yeah, but I don't want to live this lifestyle of a broke person. Well, then go and find a rich person. Yeah, but rich people abuse you. Okay, be single or go gay. Seriously, like that's the only options you have now. Die alone, be single, be gay. That's it. Okay? There's no way you can marry. I don't want to be with a rich man because he's abusive. I don't want to be with a broke man even though he's nice. Just be gay. And I don't support be gay, but I'm just like, bruv, well, it's actually in this instance, sis, like this is your only option. Go and get a woman and go 50-50. Because if you're out here talking about, I don't want to be with a rich man because, you know, they haven't got quality, they haven't got character, they're just going to abuse me, they're using the money as a weapon over me. Okay, then go and get with a guy who makes less money. Yeah, but I want him to make less money, but give me the lifestyle of a guy who makes 6 figures. Okay, go and get a guy who makes 6 figures. No, he's going to abuse me. Okay, so it's like, which one? Pick a struggle, for God's sake. I don't want a man at all. Okay, just thank you. I want to be single, be independent, die alone, and get a girlfriend. I was like, I commend you for being honest with yourself. You know, that's what you need to say from the outset and just cut the crap and the heartache out. It's just like, oh, that argument of comparing the two, it doesn't make any sense. The closest thing to wrapping dudes will do is wrapping gifts at Costco at Christmas season. Exactly. And it's like, oh, The women believe their own lie because they want that way out at the end. Like when it all goes badly, they can always fall back on, I trusted him, I believed him. It's like, no, you didn't. You wanted an excuse to exit the relationship. So you made sure you picked a guy who actually had a flaw. So anytime you got fed up with the relationship, you could use that flaw as an excuse to come out. And then you come out like a victim because you know other women are going to side with you, like, yes, many of these women are not high value nor high quality. Exactly. What do you think about Ziva? I don't know what Ziva is. If you tell me what Ziva is, I might be able to give you a little bit of an opinion. But this idea of comparing value with quality, I just don't understand why people do it. Because obviously, you've got to lie on the pillow with this person every night. You've got to like them, but women wanting to hold, women wanting to hold opposing views at the same time is one of the reasons why they're failing. But another reason why they're failing is because they're not willing to put in the work to get what they want. They're trying to cheat the system, and then they're getting upset because the system is now pushing back. It's like, okay, you want a man who makes six figures? Okay, no problem. Forget about character and everything else. Let's just talk about the six figures, and we're not just talking about baseline 100K. Okay, well, what do you have to do to get with such a man? Oh, I don't want to lose no weight. Why should I have to change my hair? Why should I have to go to the gym? Why should I have to eat healthy? Why should I have to give up on my dream? What? It's all right, then don't then. Yeah, but I still deserve six figures. I was like, says who? These conversations are ridiculous because people are just like, riding into the sunset over the rainbow with the leprechaun's pot of gold on their unicorn type. Really? Come on now, stop it. Stop it. Stop it, stop it, stop it. It's frustrating as the fact that Mike Tyson won't let me hit him in the face. It's just ridiculous. Haroon, what is Ziva? I don't know what it is. A lot of these women just want what they want, but they don't want to do what it takes to get it. And that's why they're upset with Kevin, because Kevin is really shining a light on the fact that, men have rights, men have preferences, and they have complaints. And like I said before, the reality of the situation is this: if it's only 1 in 4 women get married. And if these women have been single, chronically single, and they haven't got good relationship history, that's not Kevin's fault. Like, no matter how much you want to use Kevin as the whipping boy and the scapegoat, the reality is this: the results speak for themselves. If you're saying you're 30 and you've never had a serious relationship, that's not Kevin's fault. If you've got children with men who are not doing the right thing, that's not Kevin's fault. He didn't make you make those decisions. And a lot of the time, I think a lot of this is really just trying to use Kevin as a scapegoat. I thought I heard a rapid button pressing. Xbox 360. A gold digger femininity channel run by mixed race women talks about dating tips, dressing. Yeah, you see, Haroon is talking about Shira, I didn't know that she was mixed. I know that she's fair, but she's also mixed. Her dad is white or Hispanic or something, and her mother's black, right? And Shira got married. This is a small channel. She might come over, she might look. No one really cares. She said it out of her own mouth, so it's not like I'm slandering her. Fair use, even though I'm not using anything. I don't know. I don't want Crystalline to get her bodyguard and her legal team. She's out here threatening people with a bodyguard. I'm like, Crystalline, who the hell's trying to attack you physically? You're the one attacking everybody, actually. You're the aggressor. You're the one like, I'm going to get high value men to show Kevin Samuels a lesson. It's like you're the aggressor, but you're trying to make out like everybody's picking on you. Like, come on now, stop it. First it was flag obsidian, now it's flag like There's a lady and she's got a gremlin in her throat, and when she talks, she's like, ugh, ugh. And I want you to screenshot anything that she puts, and I'm gonna send it to my bodyguard and my lawyer because I'm in California and we take that seriously. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, is anybody safe? So fair use, fair use. I wonder if I'm using the word crystalline is copyrighted. Anyway, look. So yeah, so Shira 7 has got like, hey y'all, I think that typing woke me up. Yeah. No, no, Ziva is a different woman. What, like one with a surprise, like was born, Bob and is now Brenda. It's not about Miss Potato Head. Shut up. Crystal is not high value. She's all right. But that's what I hear. That's what I hear. You know what I mean? She's like, you know, she's 21, gets with a man who's separated from his wife but not divorced, 46. That's already like double the age gap. And then Crystalline's trying to say, what did your mother think when she heard that you with this old man? And she's like, she knew everything. And she's like, yeah, you know, she knew everything. Shira got with that man when she's 21. She's 41. In 1 year's time, Shira will be with this man more of half of her entire life. So she's the epitome of what Kevin says about the danger zone and securing a high value man in your prime. And yet they're all out here just talking about, oh, it's so creepy when an older man gets with a woman in her 20s. Why would a man want a woman in her 20s? Well, what does he want? Like a person who's got like gray in their pubic hair? Like what do you think he wants a 21-year-old for? He wants eggs. What kind of stupid question is this? Why would a grown man want a woman in her 20s? That's creepy. That's almost pedophilic. Yeah, okay, but she's been sexually active probably for the last 4 to 5 years. Yeah, but that doesn't matter because it's creepy when it's an older man. It's like, well, seriously, just knock it off. Just stop. Stop sending these young girls down the river and sabotaging them for no reason because you didn't get. Apparently James is broke. He's only earning 5 figures. I think I did hear something like that. She's also paying the bills according to some sources, and she can because she's got a popping YouTube channel. And it's all about, maintaining the facade. But even if he was broke, again, like, well, what's broke? But again, like, they built a life together. She maybe hasn't had to really work a day in her life. She claims that she was, going to the mall, doing shopping sprees when everybody else was grinding at their computer in the office. So really and truly, she may not have had a house on the hill, Beverly Hills style, but she definitely had a life of leisure compared to a lot of women that's like slogging it out, doing two jobs and being the mother and the father. So, I mean, who would you want to be more? With average James, who's making decent money but can enable you to be a stay-at-home wife, a mother, or do you want to be on your own doing everything? Again, it's like people behave as if there's only two options, broke or super rich. It's like, no, most people are average and they're able to live a decent life, with just an average income. Just get over it. Get off your unicorn, put your leprechaun pot down, leave the rainbows alone, or whatever else it is you're smoking, and just come to reality. Just come to reality. The reality is that there's a shortage of men making the kind of money you claim to want, and the reason why these men have higher options is simply because there are fewer women out there making that kind of money. So it's easier for women around the world to be hypergamous, even with a guy who makes 70K, because I think 1/3 of the world's population is making like $2 a day. A lot of people on the planet are not making like 1,000 a year, or that much, in terms of thousands a year. So if you are coming to a place where the people have a low income and you're making even 30, 40,000 a year, that's still a lot compared relatively to where they're at. So this is why men have greater opportunity to date out, because at the end of the day, there are women on average don't make that much money. Yeah, there are some high earning females, but the vast majority of females do not make high incomes. And therefore, it's easier for them to be hypergamous as long as the guy's got a reasonable income. But when you start putting criteria like he's got to make 100,000, you X yourself out of the game, because you don't have what it takes to get in the circles where you're going to be exposed to those kind of men. You're not willing to do the work to get in those circles, but then you think you're better than the men that you can actually attract. So you leave with nothing. And it's like, this is why the die alone thing is hitting hard, home so much, because these women have gassed themselves up so much in their mind that they deserve certain things, and they're just, I'm going to manifest a husband, like B Simone said, like poof, and I'll go and find a lamp and rub it and get the genie to just poof a man out of the sky. And it's like, it hasn't happened. You're getting out of your prime years, and you still look back on your dating history with no real understanding, no real experience. But you think all of a sudden you can just show up and be a wife. It's like, I'm seeking to be a rich investor in the stock market. I hope you make it. I'm going to be a billionaire one day, owning huge shares in a company. That's good. Hey girl, how you doing? I loved your video when you did the real talk. She's got a great channel, and she was talking recently about the lawsuits against Kevin Samuels and how these ladies don't really have a case. And I thought that as well, because one of the ladies who's trying to sue Kevin Samuels, she actually doxed herself a year ago on Donovan Sharp's show. She called in, she showed her face, and she showed her passport. Everybody knows who she is. So I understand she feels a bit upset that Kevin showed her face without her permission, but it wasn't like her identity was secret. She's already doxed herself. So that was I saw that video too. It was Kev. I didn't want to type the whole name. That's what made me make my video. I like his content too, but I felt like he didn't understand. Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean about he didn't understand, but I'm just like, for me personally, the call is very short. You don't have any background. These women are often coming with the same kind of rhetoric, and when you try to talk to them, you see the conversation would have progressed had she just accepted what he said the first time. But she keeps going like, but. Now, okay, we can say that she didn't know she was being aired broadcast live, right? Fair enough. But Kevin can see her, and that's why all the time you see him saying, are you checking the comments? Are you watching the chat? Now you understand why, because a lot of the women who come on his show, although we cannot see them and everything, they are actually playing on the phone. They're not listening. They're not paying attention. They call in for advice, but then they're not taking the advice. This is why sometimes you think Kevin is just losing his temper with a random caller, but he's frustrated because he can see them, and they're like, people are walking around, they're doing other jobs while talking to him on the phone, they're playing on the phone, they're reading the chats, and it's like, this is why he becomes frustrated, because you call in to ask for help, but then at the same time you're not giving it full attention, knowing that you only have a small window for us to dialogue unless you want to book a session. And so it's like, I'm happy. I don't know who's whispering in Kevin's ear, but that moment when he took that lady and made an example out of her, as much as it's painful for her, I understand. This has really blown the lid on a lot of issues in the black community, and it's finally got black men and black women coming to the table with their weapons down, ready to actually dialogue, because you have a lot of narratives out here about the men and the women, and I'm more likely to lean towards men, because men tend to be more objective, and if women are honest, they actually can say, yes, there are a lot of the things that men complain about that women do. And so for that reason, I'm more inclined to side with men than women, because women often talk about feelings and how they perceive things, not necessarily objective truth. And that's why so many women are in the state that they're in. You know, so Real Talk says if a woman wants to date for money, she got to play the game. That's why I don't know why they get mad at the truth. Exactly. It's not rocket science, but the reality is this: these women want something that they don't qualify for, and they're not prepared to do the work to get it. They want the high value man to just love them as they are, even though they don't want to reciprocate anything in return. Shira 7, she was probably fit. She's pretty now. Well, she's had work done. She'll admit she had her lips done. I wouldn't be surprised if she's had other kinds of surgery. I've seen pictures of her years ago when she was carrying more weight. She wasn't looking so hot, I'll be real, but now she's polished and she does look very attractive. So I can only imagine how she looked at 21. You know, mixed race, probably long hair, very pretty, and tell the truth about what they really want. Exactly. They need to be honest with themselves. You know, they need to be honest with themselves about what they want and why, and then understand that it's a game. That rich man wants a nice young looking lady on his arm. Even if you're not young, he wants you to be pretty. And if you're not going to do that, you're not going to work on your demeanor and your character. Yeah, guys have a low satisfaction level. They don't have a problem to sleep with a woman that they think is ugly or even a horrible person. They're only there for the sexual experience, and once they've got it, they're gone. It's like, if you think about it, like out of 10, you know, it's very easy for a man to feel satisfied and go on his way. It's the woman out here who's trying to commit to all kind of things and get more out of it than she's putting in, and then she's walking away talking about he tricked me and I feel cheated. The woman is the one who's often less satisfied. When the man is unsatisfied, he just goes on his way. He finds other things to fill his time, and he finds other ways to get his release, and then he's gone. It's the women out here crying about lack of commitment, lack of eligible men, lack of fathers, this. Well, you got to be willing to play that game if you want to get. At the end of the day, I get it. It's cool. It's like, I get it. You want certain things, but you got to understand that it's a two-way street, and a lot of the women don't are not raised to understand that, because they're raised to look down on men. So that's why they're mad, because the game is up, the jig is up. No longer can black women hide behind the problem is the black man, because, and you know, shout out to all the women who are making content and just kind of having honest dialogue about what women are on, because it gives women who either knew these things but didn't feel comfortable to say it, or maybe who didn't know these things and they're like, I know something's wrong but I don't know what it is. They're finally getting places where they can actually go, you know, seeing as we're all about inclusion, because all Black lives matter, right? Unless you're heterosexual, but then that's just by the way. You know, it's like pygmishas are people too. Pygmisha lives matter. Black pygmishas matter, for God's sake. And that's where we're at with this. You know, a lot of black women who would have been labeled pick me's, they finally can have conversations about the things that they don't like about black women without being brandished a pick me. There are places where they can go and have conversations. Why do you think all these men's channels have suddenly been flooded with women? They've been flooded with females because females secretly want to be where men are. They want to be where they can dialogue with men. They want that interaction. They want that banter. They've stood outside the barber shop and the locker room and wondered, I wonder what they really talk about in there. Finally, a window has been opened for them to go in and have that conversation. And the women who like to live in victimhood or blaming black men or don't want to hold other women accountable, they're angry about that, because that's their bread and butter. Telling black women that everything is the man's fault is how they make a living. They perpetuate the cycle of poverty and lack and victimhood in order to continue the narrative, to keep proving a point, you know. And Kevin Samuels' channel has really broken the silence, that secret that a lot of black women didn't really want out, the veil's kind of been lifted. So, you know, shout out to everybody who's, you know, who's trying to have an honest conversation. This was much needed. A lot of friendships are going to get made and broken because, you know, if you want to be more honest, there's certain people you can't really take with you because, you know, you say certain things, it's going to become an issue. So this whole situation is really going to separate the wheat from the chaff. The women who really want to make something out of themselves and have the Shira 7 experience where they just settle down early, have their kids, you know, and the hardest part of the day is deciding, you know, whether I want sushi or lasagna for lunch. You know, those women are going to be winning. The ones who want to kind of struggle and battle, they're going to be here, you know, calling Kevin 35, talking about where have all the good men gone. So, shout out to everybody who came through. Really appreciate you, Yanni, Real Talk, for coming on. Salute to you and all your great work over there. Everybody, if you haven't subscribed, please go check her out. Haroon, shout out to you, always supporting the channel. Man, you won too. George, bless. Got you know, Golden, bless you. Who else? Everybody who came through, I really appreciate you. You know, this, I don't know, put your cash up in the chat. Put it in the comment section. I will send you a check for this therapy session because at this point I don't know who's helping who anymore. I hope you have a good day. Be safe. Wear your mask. Take care. For those who are catching this on the restream, let me know what you think in the comment section. Share the video with someone who needs to see it. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace. Hey, Carl. Shout out to you, bro.